Welcome to today's episode of The Daily Blend. I'm your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Dean and Amber Klempke. They are both real estate advisors, the Klempke Group, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's you too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's us.
Mm-hmm. You're Dean, you're Amber.
Yes.
Right.
We got it straight. So today we are talking about the house buying process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so with people maybe ready to jump back in the market, I know interest rates went down a hair, like what should people expect when they get ready? Because what if I'm a first-time home buyer, I have no idea
Give
what
us a
to
call.
expect. Right, but I have no idea what to expect when I walk into your office. Like, what do
Right.
I expect?
So first-time home buyers are our favorite kind of clients because I was a teacher for 25 years and she's a nurse. And so educating people is just natural to us. And we've actually been through real estate transactions when we were not realtors where we didn't feel like we had a great grasp on what was going on through the process. And it's kind of one of our guiding principles that we want to make sure you're educated about the process before we get started.
Yeah.
And have a great grasp of what's happening as we go through it.
Yeah, and I guess that really does make sense because sometimes in professions, and I am guilty of this sometimes myself in a profession, like you've done it so many times and you're kind of the expert in it. And so it's quicker and easier for you to just do it. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
As opposed to taking the time to walk somebody else through it kind of step by step. But I guess as I get older, I appreciate the time taken and the care given to, let me educate you on this process. So that's important. That's important.
Yeah. And, when you are first starting out, if you're a first-time home buyer, the first thing you want to do is find a good realtor. And you want to interview that person and make sure that that's a good fit for you. And also speak with a lender so you know how much money that you can spend.
Yes.
So that's step one in the home buying process. And you want to have a realtor that's going to have a good consultation with you.
Yeah. So question here about the interview. Because sometimes that can feel, sometimes it can feel intimidating if you do sit down with an agent that maybe somebody has referred to you or that you've just found online. And if you don't feel like it's a good fit, should you feel bad if you don't feel like it's a good fit?
You should absolutely not feel bad.
Because if you're trying, you're working with this person for at least a month.
Yes.
Probably longer than that. So you want to make sure that you're going to vibe with that person. Because if it doesn't work, it's going to be a real long process and you're going to have a real bad taste in your mouth by the time it's done.
Yeah.
So it's better to just, if it's not a good fit up front, that's okay. And most realtors are not going to be offended. And if they are, they probably weren't right for you anyway.
There you go. There you go.
And so we like to sit down with people and have about an hour-long consultation talking about their wants and needs, talking about, where they want to live, what kind of house they're looking for, what are their motivating factors for the things that they want.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a couple.
Yeah.
And because they might think they have the same wants and
We
needs.
all watch House Hunters. The couple never agrees.
Right.
Absolutely. So we have that hour-long interview with them. And then at the end, we're like, would you like to sign a buyer's agency agreement with us? Because we have to have a buyer's agency agreement where they hire us as their realtors in order to see houses.
Yeah. So in order to proceed, that document has to be signed. Okay.
Yeah, that's a newer change in the industry, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's something that always has been done. It's just now we have to have it done before we go show somebody a house.
Okay.
And that's part of the importance of a realty consultation because you don't want to sign a contract with someone that you just met.
Yeah.
At the house you're going to see. It's important to have that conversation with your realtor beforehand so you know what you're getting into, how the process works, and all of that.
And is that when they get this nifty little book?
They do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because this book, I was just peeking through it when you got it, and I was like, okay, I like everything about this. Like this whole list in the back that talks about like what you want, and having that written.
Absolutely.
Like having that written down is probably very important because if you get like, let's say we looked at 30 houses, right? By that time as a client, I'm just loopy.
Oh yeah.
Right?
And they all do kind of
do you take us back?
Yes.
I remember you said this is what you wanted.
Right.
This is what you wanted.
Well, and sometimes people will send us random houses that they're like, this looks interesting. And we can kind of say, does that match a lot of, what you said you wanted?
Yeah.
Because, we want to make sure that we're looking at things you actually can see yourself living in.
Yes, and I like the must-have versus the would like to have. Like I would like to have that, but is that something that I have to have? Is it a must? And so separating those out is really nice because it probably can help you make a decision between like two houses that are close, right?
Absolutely.
Is this a must-have or is this just something that I would like to have?
Right.
Well, and with first-time home buyers, we tell them, you're not going to probably buy the perfect house on your first house.
That's very good.
And because real estate is an investment, and throughout your life, you can, trade up until you get to that perfect house that you've always dreamed of.
Yeah. I always hear it said, if you get 80%?
About 85%. 85% is a pretty good rule. If you get 85% of what you're looking for, you're doing all right.
Okay.
Unless you have just endless money where you can pick the perfect house. But most people don't have that. And so you kind of got to look at where you can compromise and make some choices and decide, is it that important to me?
Yeah.
And, as people are going through the process, first-time home buyers or not, we sit down and we do this consultation. We talk about must-haves, what we want, all those kind of things. But as we see houses, that can change. And so we can, like, let's say we've seen 10 houses and they're just not quite finding it. Then it's time to go back to the table and say, okay, let's see what we've seen, what's working for you, what's not working, and kind of narrow that down. And more of a process of elimination than, this is what I want, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Then we eliminate things that aren't working so we can revise that list.
Okay.
And
That makes a lot of sense to me. And like, I feel smarter just like as I've sat here with you guys about the process and how important it is to sit down with the possible agent first.
The possible agent.
And have that real talk about what it is you're looking for. So you guys are always so fun and educational. I appreciate you guys coming to help us
Thanks for having us
know
on.
about the home buying process. Thank you, Amber and Dean.
We really appreciate being here.